Chair Huntsman and Vice Chair Belknap have asked to be excused and may be coming later. And also Board Member Moss is finishing up a court situation and will be here as quickly as he can. As authorized by Utah Code 52-4, this meeting is being held electronically without an anchor location to reduce the risk. I don't think we're necessarily doing this to reduce the risk of health and safety by limiting the frequency of in-person meetings. But it looks like we are still doing that a bit longer. I'm going to go ahead and take a roll call vote. Board Member Booth. Board Member Cannon.
Here.
Board Member Klein. Board Member Klein. Member Earl.
Yes.
Board Member Hanson. Board Member Hart. Board Member Hutchings.
I'm here.
Board Member Hymas. Board Member Hymas. Board Member Lear.
Here.
Board Member Moss is going to be late. Board Member Norton.
Here.
Board Member Straight.
Here.
Board Member Klein is here.
Yay, we have a quorum. I'm glad you made it.
Board Member Lear's here also.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started. We are going to start, I believe, with talking about student fee policy. And I have that I'm turning the time over both to Susan Patton, Associate Superintendent of the Blind, and Michelle Tanner, Associate Superintendent of the Deaf. But I see Carl Empey here too. So I will let whichever one of you is going to lead out, go ahead and lead out for us. And if you'll introduce yourself, that would be great.
Probably should be Carl first.
Good afternoon. I'm Carl Empey, Finance Director, USDB. We just recently completed our student fee review with your audit team, Tamara, and with Barbie and Cole and others. One of the things, this is a little premature to have the policy in front of you. Through the audit, there's some revisions that we're going to be making. We're meeting as a superintendency Monday afternoon of next week to talk about that, make substantial changes to this fee policy. We'll be bringing it back to you in the next 2 consecutive board meetings. And we will incorporate all the changes that the audit team has suggested that we incorporate to help us improve this whole process of student fees. So I think we don't need to take much of your time today. I'll defer to Susan and Michelle if they want to elaborate on it, but because we'll be bringing this back to you and having a more thorough discussion next month, Madam Chair.
Okay. So do we not need an action item today then?
We don't.
Okay, sounds good. So are we ready then to move on to contracts for review? Item 5.2?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
We've got one large contract of $900,000. We were requested, and we've got Armando Venegas online with us as well today. Armando is the director of USIMAC. Your office has asked us to go out and purchase a couple hundred embossers that it does the Braille print for schools throughout the state. using ESSER money. So we applied for a grant. The state office approved it. They are looking to us to go out, do the procurement. We've done an RFP. We've selected a vendor subject to your review and approval of the embossers. And I think we also have Sarah Young maybe on the call as well. She said she was hoping to be able to join us to be able to answer. She and Armando and Leah Voorhees may be able to answer any questions that you have.
Okay, I am just checking. What did you have? I mean, I love my son. I'm saying I love you to my son. I love all of you too. But I am speaking specifically to my son who was walking out the door. I don't see any hands up currently. So if I miss one of you, I don't have a counterpart helping me look today. So please let me know. But I do see that Board Member Hart has joined us. Thank you and welcome, Board Member Hart. And
I'm watching for hands also, just smart.
Board Member Hymas. Oh, Chair, you joined. Wonderful. Great to see you. Okay. Let's go ahead then and do we have questions on this contract? I have one if nobody else does. What is the distribution going to look like for the embossers? Is it like per student, per capita? I mean, or what's that going to look like?
We defer that to Armando and to
Right.
Leah and to Sarah.
Or one of you?
Okay, this is Armando Venegas, Director of USIMAC. And we counted about 500 students throughout the state of Utah that would qualify for needs for embossers. So with the 200 that we are purchasing, that would be one for every 2 or 3 students. And so what we're trying to do is send them to areas that or LEAs that have on the basis of everyone will get one that has a VI student or a student that needs Braille. And if they have more students that are that have VI, more students in their district that qualify, then we'll try to get one for every 3 students. So if they have 6 students, they'll have 2, and therefore, and they're on. Some districts have about 30 or 40 students that would qualify for Braille. Others have just 1. So at least each district will get 1, and then divide the full number by 3, and those are the amount of embossers. And then the district will decide where they will house those, what regions, what schools.
Very great. Thank you. And thanks to Board Member Earl for suggesting this initially. Was a great suggestion. And I see that Board Member Moss has joined us as well. So welcome. We have Dr. Voorhees' hand is up also, and Chair Huntsman. So let's hear from Dr. Voorhees.
Thank you. Leah Voorhees, Assistant Superintendent of Student Support. So I just wanted to add to Armando's response to your question, Vice Chair. So we talked to special education directors and teachers of the visually impaired across the state and asked them where it would make the most sense to put the embosser, in a specific school building, at the LEA office, so that we could most easily and simply in the most timely manner get the materials to the students. So we did actually ask LEAs what would work best for them.
Great, thank you. I see Board Member Hanson joined us as well. Welcome, Chair Huntsman.
Well, Madam Chair, I was wondering if you're ready for a motion, but I will feel guilty if I make it, because I believe there's probably another board member that would experience a little bit more joy than I will in making the motion. Does any of that make sense?
Is that a shout out? Board Member Earl.
Yes,
Yeah.
I would love to support this. So, yeah, no, I would make the motion. I don't have the motion in front of me. Is the motion
Can I help
can
with
To
read
support
it.
the contract?
You can read it and she can say so moving
I'll
on.
read it and you can say so. moved.
Okay,
That the board approves the contract to purchase 210 BP Columbia 2 Braille embossers, including 3-year maintenance and warranty agreement and network infrastructure replacement for all USDB campuses. This says for USDB campuses, but these are going out to all LEAs, correct?
Yes.
So I'm not sure.
In fact, it's for all statewide LEAs.
So we got the motion wrong. So for all statewide LEAs.
so moved.
Second,
Thank you. Discussion to the motion? Seeing none, board members, please vote. That motion passes unanimously with board member Belknap absent. I think everyone else is here now. Thank you. That's exciting. Let's move on to 5.3 then. I have, that's the USDB monthly budget update. So Director Empey.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. This is the financial report. It's for the 7 months. They ended January 31st. The good news is we remain to be financially solvent. Things are going really well. Our inflows and revenues from the state office and the federal government totaled 29.7 million. Our expenses were for the 7 months, 25 million. So that gave us about 4.7 million. I'm just rounding up on these numbers, about 4.7 million more of inflows than what we've spent. So the year is going well and there's no concerns at this point. The number of students that we served as of January 31st were 2,602 students. Our land grant enrichment fund balance is $914,531. Our donated fund balance is $281,245. And our foundation balance is $1,262,928. And that's all the numbers off that first report, the financial report. The budget status report is the report that follows. It gives all the supporting detail to those numbers. And then we've got the enrichment fund. First, maybe before we get to enrichment funds, are there any questions on any of our revenue or expense numbers or number of students served that I just reported on?
I'm not seeing any hands, only some votes that are still up, but I don't think there are any hands for questions. Thank
Okay.
you, Director Empey.
Let me go into the enrichment fund projects. You may recall that the advisory council recommended and the board approved before the year started $1,526,000 of various projects to benefit the lives of our students. We have spent through January 31st, $658,000, leaving a balance of roughly $868,000 to be spent before the end of the year. And I'd be happy to answer any questions, Madam Chair, if there's any in regards to the enrichment fund projects.
I do not see any hands up right now. I'll go ahead and continue.
Okay, that concludes my financial report for the month. Thank you.
Thank you. Since we have a few extra minutes, is it appropriate for us to ask any questions of our USDB leaders, Chair Huntsman, or does it have to be on an agenda item to do that?
Well, regarding what? That's the question.
Anything really?
Well, it's when
I
you
have a
get to
question
the,
about communication of resources, but
okay, when you get to the superintendent's report, and if you've got any follow-up as though the superintendent was there, is appropriate time to ask any questions of the superintendent or superintendency.
oh, super. And you know what? Carl was at the bottom of my page. I should have flipped my page over because we still have our superintendent's report.
That
So
is correct.
turn that over to our assistant superintendents.
Thank you. Michelle, maybe I'll go first and then you can go after. We always have to kind of tag team this, but so I'm just going to let you know about some things that are happening at the School for the Blind. And actually, Board Member Davis, one of the things that I was going to talk about was our communication and getting feedback from various stakeholders. But right now, I'm really trying to get feedback from all of our TVIs, whether they are USDB TVIs or district TVIs, and getting their input on the enrichment funds and the way we are using the enrichment funds for the blind schools specifically. As we all know, those enrichment funds are a statewide resource, and I just it just gives me a little heart sickness to think that there might be some kids that we're missing that might not be aware of some of the really great activities and the things that we're trying to do. So in regards to that, we are developing, and we did get some input from district TVIs, a few of them, not a lot, but we've put together a survey that will be going out on March 15th to all teachers of the visually impaired. We want to make sure that the students that they're serving are participating or have the opportunity to participate and are getting the information for these various expanded core curriculum activities. You know, these expanded core curriculum activities are very, very targeted. And we have a strict list of outcomes that we are responsible for, and we take the accountability of that very seriously. And again, as a statewide resource, not just kids who are attending USDB or are receiving direct services from USDB TVIs. So that's been a priority, and so I wanted to let you know that was going out. The other thing that we are doing that we haven't done in the past, this year, we're taking those short-term programs that are once a month, the expanded core curriculum short-term programs, where again, it's they're targeted expanded core curriculum activities. We're taking those to different areas of the state. So we've done, Tooele is one, Alpine is another one that we have not quite done yet, haven't done. We've done one in Davis, Logan, and we're looking at and doing one in St. George. So we're trying to get, again, reaching out to the kids, the students and families that are statewide, that, you know, it's hard for families to get their students or even the TVIs in Southern Utah to Ogden or to Salt Lake or even Central Utah. So we're really trying to focus on how do we get the services or those activities to those students. I realize that that's going to be an evolving task to make sure that we are doing the best job that we can in getting information out to not only just to the TVIs, but right now I'm going to start there with the TVIs and then also include the parents at a later date. Again, it's not that the TVIs are more important than the parents in any way, but we know that the TVIs know the system. They know what we're trying to do with those short-term programs. So I did want to mention that. So thank you for talking about communications or asking about that. I don't know if you even asked, but that's I just said. We have a graduation, and this is for both Michelle and I. We have scheduled graduation on May 26th. And that will begin at 11 o'clock. You guys will all be getting information about that. It will be held on our Ogden campus because we have the majority of the students are attending the Ogden campus. So that will be, I think it's from 11 until 1, something like that. There'll be a light lunch served, and we're very proud of our graduation. And I know that those of you who have attended it have given us great feedback as far as it being such an inspirational experience. And then just for the School for the Blind, we're still working on our study abroad. We go to London on May 3rd through May 10th. I wanted to explain a little bit about the rigor that our students, and when I say our students, they're district students that have submitted applications and gone through a rigorous process to be chosen or to make it into the study abroad program. Those kids, I'm amazed. They're high school students. They've got their high school curriculum that they're trying to keep up on, which is a struggle. But then they've also got these study abroad. It's not just a fun thing. It's something that they're very excited about. But we have them prepare themselves in international travel, and it's all related to the expanded core curriculum. And that is dispersed on a weekly basis on what they must do and the lessons that they must do to be able to be prepared to go to London. And it's really skills such as, for instance, one of them is laundry. How have you done your laundry? What steps are taken in that laundry? I know that seems like such a basic need. However, our students sometimes miss that skill because they haven't been taught the whole process of doing their laundry. So we're making sure that we're, that they're learning all of these kinds of things that we would take for granted. And that's what the ECC is for. That's what the ECC really hones in on, those 9 areas of life that our blind and visually impaired kids missed, and deafblind kids. This year, we are also, not this year, we did the 70-48 last year, but at the end of March, we're headed to Lake Powell to start rowing. And I'm not going to lie, it sounds pretty miserable to me to be camping out on the beach of Lake Powell at the end of March. But they are very excited to go. We had our first meeting and our parent meeting a couple of weeks ago, and it went really well. You'll be happy to know that we have an equal amount of boys and girls that are going. Last year, we only had 1 girl. So I'm thrilled about that. The students are very excited, and we have such great support from the families as well. One thing I did want to just tell, I feel like when I'm talking about our study abroad program, our 70-48, one more thing I was going to talk about. We have a University of Utah tour on March 23rd. That is also for statewide students, statewide, for them to be able to come to the University of Utah and go on a tour of the University of Utah. And this is the first time that's happened. So we're excited for that. So that leads me into one of the areas that I feel like we're missing. We talk about all of these really wonderful experiences that kids can apply to, and it's rigorous, and I don't want to ever come across as that that's not critically important. But we are missing our kids somewhat with multiple disabilities and with more severe disabilities. And that is one area that we're really looking at. How are we bringing those kids out, teaching the expanded core curriculum to kids who are in our districts, and also, well, districts wide, but are being served by Usdb, teachers of the visually impaired, and district teachers of the visually impaired. And we've got some great feedback and some great ideas. So that's going to be one of our focuses for our summer for camps, as we come up. Our kids with multiple disabilities, they probably can't come to a 4-day camp, but so we need to make sure that we're adjusting that, and also adjusting what they're needing to learn to be as independent as they possibly can. So I wanted to bring that up because I feel like, again, I'm always talking about the great things that we're doing for our kids who are more on the academic level, and we miss those kids. And our students who have multiple disabilities and those families go through a lot, and they need a great amount of support that we have not forgotten, and we need to be as we want to make sure that they're having their needs met as much as our academic kids. So that's what I wanted to talk to. So if there's questions, I'm happy to answer.
Okay. I can't hear Chair Davis.
I have one quick question. I don't see any hands. That was really answered my question about the communication. Superintendent Coleman was saying that in order to participate in all of these activities, that doesn't necessarily require an IEP, but it could be a flyer sent out to all the TVIs or just an invitation and they could come. It doesn't have to be listed on an IEP or anything
Right.
like that anywhere. Is that?
That is the case. Yes. We have students who don't have IEPs and also kids who are that are even post-high that are eligible to be participating in some of these post-high extracurricular activities, especially our college readiness and our college transition programs. But you're right, they do not have to be on an IEP. So we need to serve, and it's a difficult task. We need to be serving the kids who have very intense IEPs all the way to kids who are possibly on a 504 or also don't have an IEP.
Yeah, that's great. So how do you let people know about all the activities that are going on through like this survey that you're going to do or through emails, or how does the communication typically work?
So right now, there's a couple of different listservs that that we have. One thing that's been a little interesting to me is I have not been able to find a cumulative listserv, and I don't know why, of TVIs statewide who serve in the districts, and then the USDB TVIs that are serving in the districts too. Because I would like to have a listserv that just is going to the TVIs, because that's the best way to funnel information. And then those TVIs can send that to families, because those families know their TVIs and appreciate them, and they've built a relationship. So Dr. Chris Bishke is helping me. She does have access to all of the TVIs in the state. She is helping me get a listserv together for those TVIs. The other thing we do is we do have a large listserv of families and TVIs mixed. So things are going out on that. We also have personal contacts that we're asking teachers to reach out to their students. And the teachers are great. Again, statewide, they're great in trying to get their students to our short-term programs or get them involved. Right now, that's what we're doing. It's a little bit of everything, but I want to be more targeted. And I also want to be more targeted in how we're getting information and feedback about what we're doing and about how we're using these enrichment funds. I want to know what groups are saying what, because everybody has a different focus, and it's very important that we understand that, our TVIs from an educational focus, our parents, are we meeting some of their emotional needs? And are we meeting, this is huge, which I know that I'm preaching to the choir here. Are we meeting social emotional learning needs? Are we, are we bringing our students out? Our blind visually impaired kids typically deal with self-isolation, more depression they struggle with. We want to make sure we're hearing that from families and also the students themselves. That's something that I think sometimes we forget about, that we ask all these stakeholders, but then we miss the students, and they're very capable of telling us what we need to do. So I hope that answers the question.
Yes, thank you, Superintendent Patton. Superintendent Tanner.
Hi there. Well, today's a big day for the School for the Deaf. We started the National Deaf Theater Competition today. We've got kids from 4 different schools here. There are 26 students. We've got professional actors here that are deaf that is giving them feedback. We're pretty pumped about this. It's been a great experience. They came into our facility and really loved the deaf space. So it's been a great experience. We're having a performance tomorrow, Saturday night at 6 p.m. You might want to get here early because I guarantee it's going to be packed. So if you choose to come, there will be, as far as interpretation goes, I want to help and clarify that a little bit. Interpretation, we do it at the beginning and the end, and there are different performances that have interpretation. But there are sometimes when they perform that it would ruin it. Like it's like trying to describe a picture instead of taking the picture in. So if you come, be okay with figuring it out just by watching. So, but we would love to have you present. That would be great. I think you guys would be like, whoa. I just went down to one of the classrooms where they're practicing. That is deaf music. I'm just saying, I walked into the building, not the room, which was down the hall, the building, and I could feel it in my chest. That's how they do dance. And the kids were loving it. And we're going to have those big speakers that night too. So you'll feel it in your chest. It's going to be great. Did you have a question?
Where is it? The Salt Lake campus?
Yes, it's at the Salt Lake campus. It will be in our OEC building with the red towers. So we'll be in the back. Come. It's going to be quite an experience. If you want to have a different cultural experience, it's the place to be on Saturday night. So also on April 5th through the 17th, we're taking our kids to Germany. And everything is looking still good that we can go to Germany, thank goodness. And so that's rolling out. We've got 9 students going and we're moving forward with that. And that ought to be a great experience. I always look forward to these trips. They learn so much. I have talked with Superintendent Patton too. We wish sometimes, I like taking my kids to third world countries, quite frankly, because it lets them know what a different life they're living and to be grateful and to how to give to others. So Germany will be more of a historical experience and learning history and things like that. So that'll be a fun one too. We also have it's called the CEASD conference. Basically what they should say is the superintendents of the deaf, so other people in my role from across the nation, we come together and we convene here. And this is the first time we've ever hosted it in Salt Lake City. We've already filled up all our registration slots and people are still not registered. So people are excited to get back together. That's going to be pretty intense. It'll be at the Marriott downtown. Also, just wanted to let you know, I've been actively talking with the team at UVU. They are very engaged in and committed to creating a deaf education program. You notice that we've had some, the ASL English program at the Utah State University was closed down. That's extremely detrimental to the School for the Deaf, considering as I come to you and talk to you guys about whom I'm struggling to hire, that's the group I'm having struggles to hire. I don't have enough applicants for my ASL English positions. So that was pretty devastating to lose this 2 year. We're working together with UVU. We're hopeful that we'll get a program up and going there so that we can still feed the pipeline for graduates that I can hire. So I've been pushing on this actually well before that USU closed down because I saw things on the wall and thought we need to get going. And plus we don't have enough. So we've been actively engaged in trying to solve that problem. And then the last thing is we're preparing for summer camps. So we've got a lot of teachers preparing lots of summer camps. And to give context to you, the Deaf Theater event, the trip to Germany, and the summer camps are all something that is supported by the enrichment funds. These are outside of the operating budget. So none of that comes from the operating budget. All that comes from enrichment to enrich the lives of deaf and hard of hearing children all over the state.
Great, thank you. I'm not seeing any questions, so I am going to thank you for that great report and presentation and wish you luck on all of these upcoming endeavors. And we appreciate all of you and your good work that you do with our students. And thank you for spending time with us today.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.